What up? Craft Beer Playbook.
Up?
It's episode 8. Zach here, Brian there. And we are excited to keep on drinking. Not just because we're excited to do another episode, but, you know, midweek, you kind of start getting that itch for a brew. Not that you don't necessarily have one, you know, on a Wednesday night or a Monday morning or, you know, some other time. But there's just something about like Friday Junior on a Thursday where you get to have a sip of beer and you believe you're close to the weekend.
I like that. Friday Junior. I've never really thought about it that way, but yeah. No, this has become...
It's better than Monday Senior.
Yeah, that's
it's been 84 Mondays.
Yeah, this has become a pretty good staple of our week, so I definitely look forward to this all week. Monday rolls around, I'm like, all right, how many more days till I got another episode? So crack one open,
Should we call it episode Ocho in honor of our guy, Ocho Cinco?
Absolutely. Dude, that'd be awesome. We
can
get him on here one day. That'd
all right,
sweet.
So this is not a new opening, but it's a new opening. Welcome to episode Ocho of the Craft Beer Playbook. And today we've got Hidden Springs, one of our favorite breweries in the Tampa Bay area. It's out by Armature Works in that spot, kind of downtown, but like just outside of downtown Tampa to the point where there is their own parking lot. You can kind of get your own stuff going. So you're not quite in the hustle and bustle of the city, but you're still close enough that if you want to go there and then head to a Lightning game or something, you can do that. So big fans of Hidden Springs. Brian and I have been there multiple times. If you check us out on Untapped at the Craft Beer Playbook, you would see that, and you'll see our thoughts on these beers after the episode, Brian. So Hidden Springs, I think they're known for just really trying weird stuff.
Yeah, so we went
in a good way.
We went there a few weeks ago, and that was the first time we'd been there in a while. But I mean, just cycling out new beers all the time. And that's one of those things where it's like you said, they're always trying unique things. I mean, just look at their cans. You can see exactly how kind of off the wall they are. And some of the names of some of these beers that we're going to try today, I'm excited for. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you're into sours, that's definitely a place you have to check out, right?
Oh my God,
they do there with these sours and being unique, and the peanut butter, peanut butter jelly, the man-child,
which isn't one of the ones we're drinking today, but I had one on our last Free Fridge episode, episode 6, in between our 7th Son event, and you had posted something a couple weeks prior. So like,
yeah, we both had it. It's really good. We've been in there, like I said, a few weeks ago, tried out, I think we did a couple flights when we were in there trying out different things. But yeah, I mean, they have pretty much a little bit of everything. So it's really good for anyone, no matter what kind of style you like.
Staff's always really nice. They're always busy. I mean, there's been times where we've had to actually wait to get in there. In which case we just hop down to Magnanimous Brewing down the street for a couple and then head back, which is also a great brewery. We hope to feature really soon. But I'm going to actually pick this time because usually I let you kind of go through it. Yeah, we're going to start on my side. We're going to go left to right. Beer Lasers.
I love this can.
Which is an IPA with Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops, 6.7%. And it's literally got a beer shooting laser beams out of its eye.
It's got a pizza with a
what else? We got a lot of artwork working on there.
There's a lot
what's
that guy's name?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
There's a ray gun. There's a bloody knife. So as Brian pops that and opens it, and we use back to our boards, by the way, our Craft Beer Playbook boards. Thanks to listener, one of the big fans of the show, our guy Mark, again, for hooking us up with these as we start to taste some brews. We're also going to talk about mock drafts today. And it used to be a very niche crowd. I feel like mock drafts in the NFL, and you can do these for other sports too, but specifically with football, mock drafts used to be like fantasy football. Like every once in a while you find a sports fan that liked them or that did them. Then it started to grow. Now it just is full blown. There's literally places like the Draft Network that have mock draft generators. I know Brian's probably spent more time on that site than
more than I'd like to admit.
I can only imagine. I was going to ask you, and I guess I'll ask you, and then we'll take a sip here as you think about it. If you had to say over under the amount of mock drafts you've done, I'm going to just start at 100. And I feel like that's lowballing it.
Oh, geez.
Could you comfortably?
Let's take a sip.
Beer Lasers.
Oh, yes. All right. So what I like about this, I love hoppy IPAs. Like,
that's what you
can't drink a ton of them, right? But like every now and then you just want that really dry, really strong, really bitter taste. That nails it. I mean, you've got 3 different types of hops there. Man. Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic. That is really good because sometimes you just need that just clear out the palate. Super dry.
Starts our palate. We're going straight into it.
Super hot.
What kind of beer do you think this is, by the way? A Grizzly, Black Bear. It's definitely not like a pull. Maybe a Kodiak.
You keep calling them beers.
Bear. Well, we're drinking beer. There's a lot of beers.
You asked me that when we did the
Have you ever seen a bearded
house.
Bear drinking beer, bare naked?
No, that's a grizzly bear, 100%. So that's the one you can climb the tree.
Kodiak Black Bear.
Anyways, back to your question.
Over under 100.
Total?
In the yeah. Well, in the last month, I mean, shoot.
Listen, all right, so last year the Dolphins had 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, right? So you don't see that stuff very often. So you got all these different combinations. It's fun to look at all the guys you can draft. It's much more fun, I think, when you have multiple first-round picks than when you just have one, because you're just aiming for one guy. So I got really rolling with my mock drafts last year. Dolphins have 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds this year, so doing a bunch more. I'd have to say probably over 100 total I have done. It's a lot, but it's fun, you know. Like I said,
in the last year.
Probably in the last year.
So you feel comfortable saying over 100 in your life?
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable saying over 100 in the last 12 months?
That's a lot.
12 months includes before the last draft.
Probably not probably not over 100, but definitely over 50.
What? So let's be honest. When you do mock drafts, usually you're like, not you, just in general, you're usually way off. Like, that's the best part, I think, about mock drafts. You can fill out 1 million, and then the actual draft is not going to look anything like your board. Like, you might get 1 reach right. Maybe you get 2 or 3 of your, like, 5, like, locks right. But for the most part, the whole and it is a domino effect, and that's what makes it so hard. You could crush picks 1 through 5. But if you get pick 6 wrong, it might screw up your whole board.
Yeah. I think what's been fun about it, though, the most, as far as really giving you an idea of the value of some of these guys, because then you got some different sites, you know, like so you've got the Draft Network, and then you've got
Walter
Pro Football Network.
Use Walter Football doesn't.
Yeah, there's all different types out there, so I think it starts to give you an idea of where guys are going to go.
Now we're talking mock drafts for like the actual draft. I mentioned fantasy football. That's a completely separate beast. We'll touch more on fantasy someday down the road. But mock drafts are something, but you could even argue that regular mock drafts have evolved into fantasy football mock drafts. Those probably go hand in hand. But to your point, like you get to see a bunch of different things.
Well, again, same thing, right? Like, so even if you're talking about a fantasy football mock draft, I think the reason most people do it is you don't know exactly how it's going to go, but it gives you an idea of ADP, right? Average draft position. You get an idea of like value of where guys are going to be. So you can kind of plan things out a little bit. And I think as far as the NFL draft goes for fans, it just helps you feel more engaged, right? When you know a little bit about some of the players, it's not like you're sitting there watching these guys. You have no idea who they are. You've gotten a chance to kind of, you know, see some, film breakdowns here and there, and you do some mock drafts and kind of see where guys are going. So
I don't actually like doing mock drafts. I like reading other people's and then just hammering them for it, right? Like, it's one thing to do a mock draft and be like, this is what I think is going to happen in the top 10. I prefer to look through others and be like, you think he's going 5th? What an idiot. Like, that's just more fun.
Plenty of that, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, there's 32 teams. So you've got 32 different fan bases who all have their own opinion. I feel bad for these guys that have to put out these, mock drafts like on these main sites, because they just get shredded. Like, people are like, "Oh my God, you don't watch any of our games. Like, you don't know."
That guy eats more donuts than he tackles.
You have no idea what our needs are.
Plus, I mean, that's 32 NFL teams. You start talking about college teams. I mean, that number is in the hundreds, right? So, like, exponentially larger when you're trying to figure out prospects and scout and everything. I've always found with me, whether I'm covering the Bucks, the Jags, whoever, it's always fun to be like top 5, because you can get a real feel for like who will be there 5, right?
Yeah.
If you're outside of like, let's say 12, you're like 13, 14, you're like, oh, anybody could be available.
Yeah,
like, it's too hard. But if you're in that middle, it's tough. If you're like 6 through 11, because then you're like, okay, well, maybe one of those guys of value is there, but then are you reaching? Like,
and there's always those big surprises too. Like last year, I think the big surprise for me was CD Lamb. I mean, I remember watching that guy on Saturdays.
Nobody thought the Cowboys needed a receiver.
Yeah.
I mean that was the last position.
Exactly. And, they're just coming off, Gallup having a pretty kind of breakout the year before. And then obviously, Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to see that guy fall, and it's just sometimes, like you said, how the dominoes fall, like teams start to take like a need here and there, and all of a sudden it starts pushing a group of positions down. One position that probably never gets pushed down is quarterback. Obviously,
it's a great segue, and that's really why we wanted to have the conversation that we were today here on the Craft Beer Playbook. Reminder before we get into Chris Sims' actual quarterback rankings, and he does this every year. He's pretty good at it. I want to use his specifically because they're different than most of the people's that you see, so I think there's more conversation there. But a reminder, we are on Untapped. Always find all of our info at thecraftbeerplaybook.com. You can find everything, including our social media feeds there. So if you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, follow us at the Craft Beer Playbook. We've been tweeting a lot lately at Beer Playbook, at Beer Playbook on Twitter. We've got a lot going on there. Again, shout out to Seventh Son for having us out last weekend. Our peeps over there, Devin and Kat, you guys were amazing. Can't wait to do another event with you. We had some listeners, Justin, Leroy, Josh, a lot of great people came out. Obviously, a lot of friends and family as well.
Don't forget
on
Ben
our
coming
end,
down, surprising
our guy
us.
Ben, yes.
Ben
yes.
and Britt and their beautiful daughter, Kala.
For sure.
Love
So
that.
we
It's a
had
great
all kinds of
surprise.
love and support out there, and it was phenomenal to see. We're going to get into another Hidden Springs beer here before we switch to Chris Sims. And so I noticed this as I was looking at this. We'll continue to go from left to right here.
Mm-hmm.
The artist's name, Ariel Katrina. Spelled just like my fiance.
Oh, okay.
Pretty
Maybe she's
interesting.
moonlighting.
I know. Have you ever seen her in these cans in the same place?
Room? Yeah,
just
no,
saying.
She is getting a little artistic now with the shirts and everything. So
said artistic?
Artistic.
Okay, so make sure. Oh, yeah. I was like, damn, dude, like, careful. Anyways, so remember, follow us on social media, and we'll get all those things going for you. We're hoping to have more events and more news coming out soon. We're using Untapped as much as we can to keep you in the tune there. I know a lot of people asked about the t-shirts. We obviously got some merchandise that you could have seen from the events that we did. Right now, we're just taking individual orders on those. We don't have a site set up for it just yet. But if you would like a shirt, you can DM us on any platform. You can find us at the Craft Beer Playbook at gmail.com if you want to send us an email. There's plenty of ways to get in touch. And right now, we're pushing shirts for about $21. So just give you a fresh idea of that. But we're going to head to the next beer before we get into the quarterback mock. ZFG, which I cannot confirm or deny. I'm going to assume it means zero fucks given.
Zac fucking goes.
So we agree the F is the easiest letter to figure out what it stands for. This is a 0 IBU pale ale with Citra hops, Mosaic hops, and
pronounce that one.
Matuka hops. Yeah. And again, the artwork is phenomenal. I mean, you got donuts, you got brass knuckles.
I wonder if there's
T-Rex.
any rhyme or reason to which goes on which one, or if it's just a random.
Oh, I would almost say for sure. Yeah, we'll have to get somebody on from Hidden Springs.
Really? They've got a bomb. They've got a pizza.
Why wouldn't there be rhyme or reason?
Well,
there might not be rhyme, but there is reason, or maybe there's reason and not rhyme.
We'll have to ask him next time we're in there. What's
this one 5.5%. So this one's actually a little bit lower than the beer lasers.
This one was 6.7.
Now some of the things that are on both, the bloody knife is on both. I believe the what else? I thought the pizza with the eye was on both, but I might be wrong. Here, wait.
Oh,
I'm on.
Swap it out.
So yes, so there are some similarities there. Love what Hidden Springs does. So to Chris Sims, now he's really built his, I guess, credibility on ranking mock draft quarterbacks because he crushed Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen as the best two in that 5 quarterback class.
Are we really saying he's built credibility?
Well, he got that right. Most people didn't. Another one what was the other one that he had? Geez, of course I don't have it in front of me right now. But he's taken some weird approaches, and I would argue he's been more right than wrong. Yeah, Kyler Murray is the number 1 quarterback. Man, I'm trying to see. Anyways, more importantly, his draft quarterback rankings that he has now heading into this draft season, he has the number 1 overall QB, not ranked as Trevor Lawrence, which many would expect. He is the stud out of Clemson. People comparing him to the category of like an Andrew Luck, and then you have a lot of teams, I think, looking for quarterbacks too. We've talked about the quarterback carousel in terms of like, what is Chicago going to do? Jacksonville, obviously, with the number overall pick, we expect him to take Trevor Lawrence. You just mentioned the Cowboys and Dak. Does he get tagged?
By the way,
bring him back?
This is an unfiltered one. I think a little piece just dropped in there towards the bottom. So just
I see it.
Just be careful when
you're
man.
What is that? Down. Like a popcorn kernel?
It's part of their hops, man. It's unfiltered. You can see it's a 0 IBU.
Unfiltered, like this podcast.
Yeah, see, I got some floating around in there too.
Nice. Ugh.
It's not. Oh, that's what gives it its
just
body,
don't
man.
It.
Gives it its body.
Now every sip, I'm gonna be like waiting to eat something.
Yeah. See, so now.
So that's a lot. It's a lot dry.
It's like that shot glass story with our boy Chris in college.
You're just loving that story recently.
I hate that story, but it actually pops up sometimes.
So Trevor Lawrence, not the number 1 quarterback in Chris Sims' 2021 draft quarterback rankings. BYU's Zach Wilson is number 1, followed by Trevor Lawrence, which is the biggest conversation that's happening on Twitter right now when it comes to the NFL and mock drafts and everything. But beyond that, he's got Mac Jones out of Alabama at 3, Kellen Mond from A&M at 4. Then you get to Justin Fields at 5 from Ohio State, Trey Lance at 6. from basically like Sister Mary's there, it looks like. What is that? Where's he from again? North Dakota?
No, he went to the same school as Wentz. North
one of the
Dakota State or
Dakotas.
South Dakota State.
what
I
I
always
mean,
get those
yeah.
two. Because South Dakota State, I think, is the Jackrabbits. I think they're the ones that are always in the NCAA tournament basketball.
Yeah.
But then I think you got North Dakota State.
That's the most we talk about Dakota like nationally ever is trying to figure
I think they're
out.
both green, though. Like green and yellow. I think that's what makes them hard to... I could be wrong there, but...
Regardless, Trey Lance on his list at 6, Brian. So, again, Zach Wilson, BYU 1, Trevor Lawrence 2, Mac Jones from Bama 3, Kellen Mond, A&M 4, Justin Fields 5, Trey Lance 6. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts at the top, though, because I think right now the biggest discrepancy when it comes to the draft in different NFL fans as far as that we're looking for a quarterback is how high you rank a guy like Zach Wilson. Like, I feel like out there, I've talked to different people that are Zach Wilson truthers. Maybe they don't all feel that he's ahead of a guy like Trevor Lawrence per se, but many that I've talked to think he could easily be the second best quarterback and compete for, early on just as well as a guy like Trevor Lawrence could. So I don't think Chris Sims is crazy, but then he gets Mac Jones at 3, Kellen Mond in the mix. There's just a lot going on here.
Well, I think when you look at projecting college quarterbacks to the next level, again, it's so difficult, and because there's a lot of different things you're looking at. You get such a big discrepancy in like the level of competition.
Yeah.
Right. You look at a guy like Zach Wilson playing at BYU versus a guy like, Trevor Lawrence, who's gone up against some of the heavyweights there and competing for the national titles
multiple times.
So that's a big question mark, right? So yeah, is Zach Wilson a flashy guy? Does he have the arm strength? Does he make some wow plays? Absolutely. But then you also look at guys like Jordan Love, who, last year before the Packers drafted him, at Utah State, playing against lesser competition, but showing all the tools, right? So quarterback is obviously, for obvious reasons, one of the hardest positions to project because you're looking at so many different factors. And a lot of times you're trying to project where a guy can be, because there's a lot of people when Mahomes came out that were like, this guy, he's got sloppy footwork. Like,
there's also people that threw him up the top of the draft board that thought he was the best quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. So it's such a big...
Chris Sims was one of them, Chris Sims was one of them, by the way. That's the other draft, because he had Mahomes. He had Mahomes as his number 1 quarterback on the board, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that was kind of a weird year, though, too, because then they had, you had Trubisky that year.
They traded up for Chicago traded up for him.
Right, but people didn't really know that much about Trubisky, right? Because he'd only started 10 games or something like, or he only started for 1 season in North Carolina. So
yeah,
he was one of those guys where it was like, okay, well, he has the tools, right? So, and then again, you got Patrick Mahomes, who was raw, had a lot of bad, kind of footwork issues and things like that. But then you're projecting his tools. So it's like, where's the line where you need a polished product in certain areas, but then you look at projections in the other areas?
And I think what makes these mock drafts, and just talking quarterback specifically, when it comes to the NFL from college to the pros, interesting is you think about these guys that were surefire hits. Jameis Winston. Now he's a free agent. We don't even know what his future holds. Jamarcus Russell, complete bust, right? Like, there are enough guys that
define sure hits though, right? I mean, because there were definitely.
If you take a guy first overall in the NFL draft,
I think in our own kind of friend group chat, we talked about that draft class as far as Mariota.
Mariota hasn't been much better.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't even say he's been better. He's probably.
That's my point though, Zach. Because I'm saying both of those guys coming out, I think there were a lot of people that had question marks, and it just kind of sucked for the Bucs being the 2 pick that year, right?
No, they're 1.
They got
him
them
over
1
Mariota.
Pick, right?
Mariota went to.
But that's what I'm saying. That was kind of one of those down years for quarterbacks. It had to be Jameis or it had to be Mariota. You had to take one or the other.
We didn't know it was a down year at the time, though. I mean, those were.
I was never really high
guys.
on either one of those guys.
Those were playoff bound QBs. I mean,
I wasn't high on them because Jameis was a turnover machine in college. Okay. And you look at a lot of those guys, that's a tough transition. You got to look at guys like Sam Darnold. Okay. Same thing. He was a turnover. And granted, the Jets haven't done him any favors to help develop him, but he's had turnover issues, poor decision making, same problem that Jameis struggled with. You look at Mariota. Is he going to be able to adapt to an NFL offense? That was his biggest struggle. He was always good with his legs, but then again, when you force him to sit in the pocket and throw the ball, much like Lamar Jackson, he struggled to carry the team at that point. So I think that was a down year. Personally, I kind of pegged both of those guys as probably going to be disappointments, and so far I've been right.
You're Chris Sims, you're saying, basically.
I'm better than Chris Sims.
Whoa! So let's do this then. What are your rankings, top 6? Is it these 6 guys, first of all? Because I have a feeling you would probably swap one of them out for Kyle Trask, but I don't know that. So 1 through 6, how would you rank the quarterbacks?
I'm not a huge
prospect-wise
Kellen Mond fan. I get some of the appeal there because of the athleticism, but he's a guy that feels like he's been with A&M for 10 years, right? And it's like they've never really taken that that step, right? And like I know they had a good season this year. They kind of got screwed with like the COVID stuff and games getting canceled, but I don't know. I just don't see him being that guy.
So you don't think he's a top 6 guy? How would you rank him then? Who's your number 1 quarterback heading into the draft?
Well, my number 1 quarterback is Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, your number 2 is?
Number 2 is Zach Wilson.
Okay, so you think that those 2 guys are the top 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Okay, how big is the gap between Lawrence and Wilson?
For me, I think it's a little bit more significant than with some of the other people, like Chris Sims, who's putting him number 1.
It's big enough that you don't think there's a debate that he could be the best quarterback. Right now.
He could be, absolutely.
Well, anything could happen.
Nobody knows, but I think you look at when you look at Trevor Lawrence, he checks almost all the boxes you want in a guy. He's got the prototypical size, a big quarterback, strong. He's athletic. He can run the ball. He can scramble. He's got good pocket awareness. He has a cannon for an arm, so he can make literally any throw that you need. Accuracy is one of the things where, again, still kind of up in the air. He's, I looked at one of his passing charts the other day. He's not the most, accurate quarterback on some of those mid-range throws versus some of these other guys, but he's a guy I think that easily checks all the boxes. He's played top talent, so there's not much to nitpick with him. I think.
What kind of beer would he be?
What kind of beer would he be? Oh man, great question. Because I was going to say something really consistent, but then I'm thinking like kind of bang for your buck, like really bold, right?
Natty Light. I was thinking German Pilsner because they serve him in those tall, long glasses. Dude's got a long neck, very similar.
Long hair.
Well, that's all we know about him so far. I don't know.
Easy,
I don't know.
Easy, okay. That went a weird direction.
Completely different build than Zach Wilson, by the way.
Who's that number? Oh, he's got Trey Lance. Okay.
So,
admittedly, I haven't watched him, so I can't. I don't.
Well, he only played 1 game last year, so because their whole conference was shut down.
Well, he played before that.
No, I know. So we agree. German Pilsner. What kind of bear would he be? Bear.
What
kind of bear would he be?
Battlestar Galactica. Trevor Lawrence strikes me as a. No, he's kind of big. He's like a.
Kodiak.
I won't say grizzly bear though, because he's kind of skinny. I don't know. Give me a second to think about that. We'll come back.
You trying to think of a skinny beer? Bear.
What is it with you in that
it's
word?
It's the same word.
Beer and bear. No, it's literally
B-A-R,
B-E-A-R, or B-E-E-R.
Or. All right, yeah, that's about right. Whatever. I'm just trying to,
throw.
It's not off the rails. So you got Zach Wilson, number 2.
Funny guy.
Who is your third quarterback?
Third quarterback. See, now for me, this is tough. I think it's those 2. Kind of, well, I think it's Trevor Lawrence tier 1, and then slightly below that tier 2, you've got Zach Lawrence, and then for me, there's a pretty significant gap to get to the next guy.
With like a bag full of guys. Like
you bag full of guys.
Rank them how you want.
Yeah, because Zach Fields, I'm a little biased.
Zach Wilson, Justin
Fields. Sorry.
How many beer you been drinking before I get here?
There has to be.
You taking
There's
shots?
a guy named Zach Fields out there somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe in like Nebraska, hanging out with bears or beers.
Nah. Justin Fields, I'm not a huge believer in because I've looked at how he's played in some top competition. It's a big mixed bag, right? Did you get to the sediment?
Yeah, it was sitting, and now I'm like trying to avoid it. How do you drink around it?
You just drink it down.
No.
Throw it down.
No, I'm not drinking
Come on,
it.
I got some sediment in there too.
No, dude.
Just pound it, bro.
No. You got to drink through it. You got to like make your own filter. You just like close the lips enough,
You know who can't make a filter is Aaron Judge.
Nice, crushed it. All right.
Nah, it's gone. I know you drank it.
No, it's not. Look, you can see the little crispy bits.
That was impressive. All right.
Cheers
I don't know where mine is. I probably already drank it.
Well, I'm going to open the riot juice.
How do you feel about Justin Fields?
I don't know, man. Here's my issue. I was so high, and do you get like caught up in the fact of like, oh, well, quarterbacks out of that school suck? Like,
no, never.
So like, I try not to, but like, I was really high in Dwayne Haskins. Now, I think you could argue more of Haskins' issues have been off the field and just from like a maturity standpoint. Than
that's a big part of it, though, right? Like these teams have to do their homework and know who loves the game.
They might.
He doesn't love the game. He loves Instagram selfies. He loves being in the spotlight more than anything.
My man was doing interviews and stuff though. Like, think about when anybody goes for a job interview. You're putting on your best face. Like, you're trying to seem like an awesome cat. You might not be.
Yeah, but these
guys. Look, you ran interviews. You run
okay,
interviews.
That's what I'm saying. But
you never have one sneak past you, and you're like,
the number.
suck.
Yeah,
like,
okay. One of the best things I learned when I went to school for journalism was.
You went to school for journalism?
Yeah, come on, bro. You know that.
I was there.
Telecom major.
Okay,
listen.
Icons coming.
Is digging for stuff that people can't find out. I remember literally. Mike Foley was our journalism teacher, and he said that one time he was interviewing someone, And he asked him a question. They said, "How did you know that?" And he goes, "That's the best compliment as a journalist because that shows that you really did so much digging and homework on them that you found things out that they didn't even know that you knew." So there's billions of dollars at stake in the NFL. Billions of dollars. You're telling me these guys can't figure out if this guy loves football or not?
Obviously not. Every year, guys sneak past the goalie. Ezra the Lion is the next one. It's another IPA with citra hops for this one. Let's see. This one is a 5.5%.
I feel like that's from a movie or something with Ezra.
Ezra.
Oh, that's
I'm about to put your ass in a closet.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well,
I knew this,
bitch. Oh man. Oh, this has a really nice message on the bottom I've never read before. This beer helps kids beat cancer. Proceeds benefit Beat NB, driving childhood cancer clinical trials in over 45 hospitals. Learn more at beatnb.org/beer. Sip with pride, which makes sense because Ezra the Lion, he was all about helping the kids in Narnia.
For the kids, Kanye.
For the kids. Yeah, I love the kids. Man, this is awesome.
So you do stuff for the kids.
Little did I know me and Brian would be helping the kids out today while drinking.
Let's help them out.
You help them out. I guess I'll pour you first.
Thanks. All right. So next topic. Wait, no, you were talking about Fields, right?
Yeah, I had something else to ask. I don't remember what it was.
I gave you props on your pour, and now you're going heavy-handed again.
Not that bad. Mine's gonna be better because it's always easier to pour the.
Now this is a nice. Okay, so this is a similar color to the last one, the ZFG.
Yeah, but there's no.
This one looks like almost like a little bit more of like a grapefruity color. There's more sediment there, so we're definitely knocking down the.
Are we supposed to roll these cans?
Unfiltered ones today.
By the way, can we just again shout out beatnb.org/beer. Sip with pride. That's so dope. Oh, I love it. Narnia. Okay, here's one for you. If you could take one mock drafted quarterback in that top 6, well, besides Kellen Mond. So let's go the big 4, right? Which is Fields out of Ohio State, Wilson out of BYU, Lawrence out of Clemson, and Trey Lance. If you had to throw one of those guys into Narnia and out of the draft, who would it be? Like, you just don't think that they're going to make it in the NFL? Who's the most likely not to make it in the NFL? Who would Ezra the Lion
I'll say Trey Lance.
Wow, dude. Easy answer.
Wasn't an easy answer. Fine, I'll switch it up.
For the
I'll
kids,
say Fields.
Dude. That's an easy answer.
Really? You want me to
say Trevor Lawrence?
That's stupid. Why would
I can't believe you said Trevor Lawrence, idiot.
Go ahead. You can be Mr. Skip Bayless for this segment. You can.
Nah, I'd say Trey Lance too. But it's my question. I can do what I want.
Here's the thing, and I hate when guys like literally talk about shit when they act like, okay, I've watched the guy. I know. I haven't. Okay, so I've read some scouting reports on him.
Not attacking him one way or another.
Yeah, I don't want to put the guy down. I mean, he could end up being really good. I know he's an athlete. I know he's gonna probably blow away all kind of testing numbers he does at his pro day and all this stuff. But I don't know. Again, the NFL again has shifted a little bit. You got guys like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, a little bit dealing with that athleticism. But I haven't watched him enough to really form an opinion on him. So I don't want to bash him.
That's how I feel about Belgian triples. Like, I haven't drank enough of them to really know. Like, I'll have one every once in a while, but I'm like, people ask me, I'm like, it tastes tangy. And they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I haven't had enough of them to really know.
Does anyone really know what tangy tastes like? Like, that's one of those.
Exactly.
It's kind of like.
That's the point. It's kind of nobody knows.
When you have like potato chips and they're mesquite flavored, like, what is mesquite?
Are you sure it's not pronounced mesquite?
Well, you can't even pronounce beer or bear differently.
No, I can. I just don't know which is which, because if you say them a lot together, they get confused. Bear lasers, and beer.
Mesquite.
I'm just saying there's a lot going on.
That reminds me of an old Seinfeld joke.
I thought you were going to go to the Key and Peele skit where they're like, hey, Ron.
That one was hilarious. The story about that just came out like a couple weeks ago. Did you hear that?
No, that was not that one. You're talking about the NFL player one.
Yeah.
That was the substitute teacher one with
substitute teacher.
Yeah, I got this peach. Now I got a different one.
No, the one about
the substitute teacher one was one with D Nice and AA Ron, but the one you're talking about, because of DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And Jordan, which I always get him mixed up. Jordan Peele he's the shorter one, right? The one with the one who has hair,
correct?
Right? Not the bald.
That's how you. Well, yeah, okay, fair.
Come on, fair. Short and has hair. Jordan Peele, right? So he's the one. Yeah, he's the director. He produces all the.
He does all the movies now. Yep.
So apparently he wasn't a big NFL fan, but he played Madden, and he was. So he texted Key, I don't know his first name, and he was like, "Hey, do you know there's a player on the Jets named DeBrickashaw Ferguson?" He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." He's like, "That's wild." And then like a few years later, they come up with the skit, and like Jordan Peele literally just wrote it one day
good.
and brought it to him. I mean, for those of you guys that haven't seen it, if you go on YouTube and it's a Key and Peele skit, obviously, but it's the All-Star football game, just the names. I mean, it's hilarious. One of their funniest skit they've ever done. They come up with all these crazy names, but that was fun.
I'm trying to think too. Like those are the obvious ones. I think Aaron Rodgers was actually in one of them as A8 Ron because he was like a fan of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm like 99.9% sure.
Aaron Rodgers was also, wasn't he didn't he dress up as a zombie during Walking Dead as well? Or no, he was
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, that's right. But
and he's hosting Jeopardy in a week or two.
Really?
Yep, real life. He's actually engaged to Shailene Woodley.
I don't know who that is.
She's the chick from thinking of a movie that you would recognize.
Shailene Woodley.
You would recognize her, but I don't think any of her film stuff is up your alley.
Speaking of films, by the way, I know you're going to laugh at me for this. I just saw Batman Begins for the first time ever.
How is that even, like, what do you do?
I've seen Dark Knight like 12 times.
You've watched Happy Gilmore like 50 times.
It was literally on Netflix, and I go, oh, I've been waiting, because it went away. I was looked for it a few months ago. It was on there, and then it went away right when I went to go watch it. It was back on the other night, and I watched, I don't know, it's weird. One of those things is like, I've seen Dark Knight like 12 times. I've seen Batman.
What do you think of Liam Neeson in it?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he did a good job. It just struck me as
cool.
I know, it just struck me kind of as weird that he was like the main. But then you look at kind of like that time frame, like Joffrey, literally from Game of Thrones in that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he's a little kid.
He's a little kid in there. So like you look at that time frame, it came out in 2005.
Yeah, he grew up to be a real ass.
This was 16 years ago.
He needed another 16.
But I saw him and I was like, is that Joffrey? And then they showed him again and he's got like the blue eyes and the blonde hair and he's like being a little bitch. Yep. I was like, it's definitely
on
Joffrey.
brand.
Definitely Joffrey.
On brand. Speaking of brand, the Craft Beer Playbook. This is episode Ocho. Hitting up Hidden Springs, also talking a little bit of mock drafts, having some fun with you all. We're going to take a quick time out. When we return, we got 2 more brews from Hidden Springs we're going to sip on. Also got some news for you. Don't forget to follow us on Untapped. If you drink and you're on that app, it's a good one to have.
You like
craft beer? It's good. Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that we're like supporting the kids. I'm really appreciative of that. I know that sounds. We had the adoptable lager from.
We're just changing the world one sip at a time.
Seriously, dude, we're saving dogs, saving kids. The next one. Maybe it'll even, I don't know. I don't know who else we had to save, but we'll find him and we'll save him like Batman. All right, when we return. That's all right.
Where are the other truck? Where are the other beers going?
On that note, we'll see you guys in like a couple of seconds. BRB. Back in it, back at it. The Craft Beer Playbook. This is episode Ocho.
Ocho Cinco.
Episode 8 for those of you that don't speak Spanish.
Wait till we get to Ocho Cinco, 85. 8-5.
Whoa.
Ochenti Cinco is.
It's a lot of beer that we plan to get to and drink for you.
How many beers are there in Tampa?
Enough. Just watched Superbad the other day, by the way. How old are you? Old enough to party. So great. You said you just saw Batman Begins on Netflix. That was another one for me, Superbad, that just popped up, and I randomly watched it like while I ate lunch the other day.
It's funny how it happens sometimes. You're just like, you just kind of hit the mood, and you're just like, all right, I've seen this 20 times, but it's time again. There's
nothing else like really that's in your mind that you want to watch. Like sometimes, like every Friday for me right now, I'm watching WandaVision. I'm like, that's my thing. But like, there's not always that show or movie that you're looking forward to. Sometimes you're just in this like weird no man's land.
Yeah.
Sometimes you watch Ants instead of A Bug's Life, but don't worry, that's definitely going to be an outtake. I'm going to chop that up. But Zach Blobner here, Brian Ritchie here. We got some more coming for you guys. Back to Hidden Springs, our featured brewery, and Riot Juice is the one I'm most looking forward to. I think we should probably do this one next.
Saving the Riot Juice for last?
Yes.
What's that?
This is Orange Crush. Great name.
Okay.
Also has a bear on it holding a honey pot.
This is intimidating. Like they got bears, they got lions. I don't know what that
Tigers,
is. Right
oh my.
Yeah.
That's a bear, isn't it?
That is a bear? Is that a bear?
I think so. It's got the nose.
It's bear.
Nose. Beer. Yeah, whatever. American wheat beer with wildflower honey and sweet orange pale.
Cool wheat.
5.2 by alcohol volume. Good.
Up.
This one does not help kids.
Pull up.
But again, Ezra the Lion, that was dope.
I like that one. It's a nice looking can there. And then got some crowns. They got the B&B little.
Say crowns or crayons?
Crowns.
There are people that say crayons like crayons.
Crayons.
Can I get one of those crayons?
Crowns.
Like, what are you saying? Ants or Bug's Life?
Okay, so not a hazy here this time.
Here, I got some more for you. Yeah, so this one, I'm assuming there's going to be some orange like in this because it's
What's the? Let me see it.
Again, reminder while
American
Brian looks
Wheat.
at that, follow us on Untapped at the Craft Beer Playbook. You can get all your Craft Beer Playbook info at thecraftbeerplaybook.com. Also on Instagram and Facebook at the Craft Beer Playbook.
Ooh.
But if you're on Twitter, it's at Beer Playbook. We've been tweeting a lot lately.
Is it sour?
See it. I don't think
It
so.
smells like a sour.
No, well, it says it's a wheat. It just says American wheat beer.
Give it a whiff.
Wheat. Cold whip.
Maybe not. I don't know. The can smells
I think that's the orange though. Just okay. All right. I guess we're not cheersing. I'll just go. Drink by
cheers you
myself.
afterwards. Okay. So it definitely tastes the honey. It kind of like evens it out on the back end.
Oh, wow.
Smooths it out.
Chris Smooth.
Waiting on a noob.
The S Club 130. I'm clapping.
Yeah. Man, that was years ago though. I feel like no one knows who Chris
I'm in a
Smooth is.
good spot. Why not let it fly?
That was great.
God, he was so good. He's still doing stuff.
Is
Are you
he?
kidding me? He was Twitch before Twitch was Twitch. He was the original
the
Twitch.
YouTube. Yeah, he was the YouTube king.
He
Chris
invented
Smooth,
Twitch,
waiting on a
basically.
noob. That was funny, but
So good.
how you feel about this?
I'm trying to think. So we always talk about like a good time to drink a beer. So this is good. You don't really taste the wheat as much.
The
You're right
weather
with the
today,
honey, it
by the
smooths
way,
it out.
is
This is the first
amazing.
time I've had a beer that has orange peel in it that like isn't overpowering. Usually the orange, like you think of like even like your regular beers like Blue Moon, Shock Top, like the orange is very subtle. I get a lot more of the honey, at least on mine. And I'm like, when would I drink this?
Yeah, kind of
It's
like a
not
zest,
bad.
right? It's like you think of
Yeah.
like a
Salt Bay, like
you think of like an old fashioned, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's literally
that's
just
true.
the orange zest, right? So like you get the
Ooh.
smell, you get the hint of it.
now I'm wondering if we put like the old fashioned garnishes in it and like put it into a glass, people wouldn't even know. I don't know why we would do that. But if
they
we
might be able to
did,
tell the difference between bourbon and this.
I don't know.
But no, I
Good.
think that you're right. I mean, it's definitely more subtle on the orange. Like I said, the can smells like it would be a sour, but then you pour it up
You know what it reminds me of?
and it's
And I mean this in the
smells
nicest
completely
way
different.
possible. This is like I'm cleaning out the garage beer.
Hmm.
Like I feel like I would start to
Let me
clean
think
it,
about that.
and I'd be like, I want something refreshing, but I don't want something like too light. And I'm like, oh, what can
Yeah.
I grab? I'd grab an Orange Crush, and I'm like, okay, well, got to go into the attic, get to drink some of
This
this.
is one that I think has to be really cold. You know, so there's like some beers you can
Oh,
drink
yeah.
that they're kind of like
It also
room
makes it
temperature,
like
okay.
crisp when it's cold. Almost.
Yeah, like this is one that would have to be like I would want to pull this out of just literally a bucket of ice and drink this one. If it was warmer, because it's wheat.
It's not warm, by the
It's
way. I
wheat.
made it a point to make
No,
this.
no, but I'm saying it's wheat, so it has more of that Belgian taste
right.
to it that I'm not a huge fan of. But if it was warmer, it
I
wouldn't be
like
quite
it.
as good. No, I like
Who
it.
wins in this fight? The Orange Crush Bear or the Bear Laser Beer? Bear.
Oh, no debate. This one's like curled up reading a book. That one's shooting lasers out of his eyes.
So you're taking the Laser Bear?
Actually, he's meditating.
So which
So
one are you
then-
taking?
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
a curveball. All
He's
right.
a ninja,
He's a
and in
ninja.
that is throwing knives, and the Beer Laser.
Yeah, see, so he's meditating. I'll take him now because I was thinking he was just chilling, but
I'm taking
you
the
know,
Orange
it's
Crush
always-
Bear.
it's like the monks, right? The monks they meditate and then they just kill you. So
Yeah. See, I was gonna try to catch you off guard, just like my aunt's question. So we were talking about movies in the break, and clearly Brian just watched Batman Begins. I mentioned Superbad, and we're trying to debate.
for the
like,
record, Zach is way more, probably 20x the movie buff that I am.
For
So
every
time
mock
that I
draft that-
mention something,
every mock draft that Brian's done, I probably watched like 5 movies for that.
it always
mock
makes
draft.
fun of me for never seeing certain movies.
No,
Although
You've
I have
gotten
caught
better.
up, I have
Yeah,
over the
you've
years.
gotten a
I've
lot better.
caught up a little bit. I've made it a point to just watch things on Netflix that are like
Well, now it's
Shawshank
easier,
Redemption. I
too.
just watched for the first time like a year ago.
Think about this. Like, we come from an era where growing up, like, you were just stuck with whatever movie they repeated on TV every like week. Now you can
Yeah.
watch whatever you want, whenever you want. So it is a lot different. I'll admit that. Like, I was a big DVD guy. I would go down to the local like sound exchange store and just like buy a bunch of DVDs and then like watch them back to back to back. Now I can just go to Netflix and binge stuff. Like, I told Ariel, she came on like a couple weeks ago, and Adventures was on Endgame. I put it on Disney Plus. And she was like, "Oh, you're watching Endgame again?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "I just got through the rest of the, MCU." And she's like, "Isn't that like 15 movies?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it was like over the course of a week and a half or so." And she's like, "How?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm doing stuff, but I'll put one on and I'll like."
Yeah.
So that's
and
just
that's
how
the
it
thing
rolls
that's
now.
tough for me, and I don't knock that. I just can't get into that. It's too much. It's just like overload. Like that many movies, it's like I'm just, it's hard for me to get into it and and like follow it. Star Wars has been hard enough. I was trying to wait on my wife because my wife has never watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I started back with the ones with literally like the first ones.
When you watch Star Wars, do you start with the original 3? Or do you start with the actual first episode?
Well, that's what we tried. So get this. So I tried to get my wife.
This is in the pandemic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to get her in. I was like, listen, because all the new ones came out that I hadn't seen yet. But I was like, okay.
Have you seen the new ones?
I have now.
Okay.
But I was trying to be polite, and I said, look, I'll wait until my wife catches up.
It'll be like watching him. Okay.
We tried to watch, what's the name of the very first one ever?
That's episode 4.
Right, but what's the name of it? It's the...
A New Hope.
A New Hope.
And then there's Return of the Jedi.
We tried to watch A New Hope.
Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
We tried to watch A New Hope 4 times.
Okay, yeah.
She fell asleep every time. So finally I was like, you know what? It took us literally like 4 tries to try to get through it. I had to keep stopping it because I wanted her to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see those. Get into it.
If you can't get through those first 3, you're never going to like the other ones.
Right. Eventually I was like, the new ones with Rey and all that stuff I hadn't seen. So eventually I was just like, I'm just going to watch it because if she cares, she'll catch up later. Like I've been waiting and waiting to watch it.
So I did that with Ariel too. And she got through the original 3. She liked the original 3. She thought they were really good with Princess Leia and all that. And then she got through the first one, Phantom Menace. She was like still happy. Got to the next one, Attack of the Clones was out. Like same thing. She fell asleep like 5 times, dude. And every time I was like, you just got to get through this so I can get you. Like she got halfway through. I'm like, you have a half a movie and then Revenge of the Sith, and we're like into the new world. Like you're good. Because I was like, I think you'd love Rogue One, but I think you'll appreciate it more if you like watch everything in order. So it was similar, but she did make it through the first.
I was definitely geeked for Phantom Menace because there was such a big gap. I grew up on the original Star Wars, and then when they came out, and Anakin and all that stuff, I was like, this is awesome. But
I thought it was good. I know a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, no.
The Jar Jar thing's so weird, and that's the biggest.
I'm not as critical as some people are. Some people are like, they're just regular people, and they consider themselves like movie critics, and they're just like so hard on everything. I'm like,
well, I'm the opposite though. I love everything. Like it's harder to make me upset.
For me, I'm like, okay, like it wasn't great,
that movie
but
fucking
I was like,
sucked. Ants was awful. It's a movie about ants with ants and more ants.
So that was what we talked about in the break.
Yeah, that clip will be up someday soon.
I get those confused. That one and Bug's Life, because we were just talking about 2 movies that came out
awful.
Together.
One was like a normal movie.
Illusionist and Prestige, the 2 magician movies that came out at the same time. I was telling Zach on the break that I had just watched The Prestige for the first time.
What was the other one? Paul Blart Mall Cop, and what was one with Seth Rogen? It was like Observe and Serve or something like that.
Observe and Report.
Yeah. It's the same thing. They're both mall cops.
Either of those.
They were within 12 months of each other.
Yeah. How does that happen? Because you know that literally filming's going on at the same time. So
I know the answer to this.
What's the answer?
So the way it works, because I've looked this up, because I got too much time on my hands sometimes, in the summer specifically. And basically what happens is you have these scripts and they're shopped around. Well, sometimes like a script will get picked up at the same time by 2 different like entities. Mm-hmm. And they'll basically like not make the exact same script. They just go forward with it. Because you shop scripts.
Isn't that copywriting though? I mean, like if you have a script and someone else rips it off and does something kind of different.
No, because you're yes, but no. Because it's a creative theory. So like think about like the mall cop thing. Like how do you copyright the mall cop idea? Like that's not an idea. Like that's just a thing. Just like that'd just be like a brewery saying like, oh, we copyright IPAs. Or like we're gonna make a new IPA that tastes like a sweet potato. Are you the only brewery that can do that? No, another brewery is going to be like, oh, that sounds cool. We're going to try it. Movies are the same way. They just usually don't happen on top of each other. The only reason they do sometimes is because the script gets shown to different entities at the same time, and then they happen to pick them up. Because most places don't pick up a script like that. They sit and they go through a bunch of like hurdles, and then like they're just on like a stack of other scripts, usually.
Yeah. And
then when they finally get picked up, sometimes it ironically happens around the same time. But
so let's tie this back into sports then. So while we're on the topic of movies, let's talk about sports. Do you have like a top 3 of sports movies?
Ooh, I want to say yes.
That's a tough question, I know, because I hate when people make me rank things because it's like I'm just usually not a ranking.
So with movies, I don't make people rank stuff, but I'll say like in no order, what are your top 3?
Okay,
so that's different.
Fair. It's like
you're still ranking them.
That's fair,
but you're not like pushing somebody to be like figure out. Just like throw 3 at me. The first 3 that come to your head. I mean, man, that is tough though.
I've got my 3
off the top of your head.
Yeah, in
You
no
already think of
particular
this?
order. Because listen, I've been a huge sports fan growing
Pulls
up.
out
so
a list. He's
I've
like, I
always-
just thought of this. Like, what the?
No, literally, like growing up, I mean, I've been a huge sports. Those have naturally been some of my favorite movies. I've always been. I've been a huge baseball fan growing up, and over the past few years, it's been tough for me to kind of stay in MLB as much because being an Orioles fan, it's been really tough.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a team down for so long, a small market team. It's hard, again, until the MLB gets a salary cap, it's really hard to really know that your team's going to bounce back quickly. It takes
They're never
years.
going to get a salary cap.
It takes
but I agree
years. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the thing
no, I
in
get
baseball,
it.
too. Guys develop. They draft, Adley Rutschman, the catcher, #1 overall, but it takes that guy like 3 years to get to the MLB. So
Right.
It's hard. It's not like the NFL, right? But with that said, Angels in the Outfield for me has always been one of my favorites growing up because it's just the message behind it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, when he was like 15 or maybe even younger than that, doing that movie. And now he's obviously did other movies that I've really liked, like Inception. Great actor. Really enjoyed all the movies and things I've seen him in. But great story, too. And then you got the guy, Christopher Lloyd, who was Al from
Back to the
Future.
Yeah.
But he was the main angel. I mean, that movie is just, when it comes to sports and having a message behind it, one of my favorites. So that's my top 3. I'd say the other 2 are probably Remember the Titans.
Great movie. Fantastic.
Left Side!
Strong side.
You could do that literally anywhere in any bar,
Very
and there will be
quotable, yeah.
someone that knows that and will repeat
Which,
back
by
to
the
you.
way, I'm glad you brought that up because at some point we're going to do an episode with our people over at Descent in the St. Pete area, and they're big Gosling fans. And I always remind them when I see
Are there
them,
women working there?
I'm a big Gosling fan, but I'm only a Gosling fan because I remember he was a huge liability in the secondary.
Huge liability.
During Remember the Titans.
He ran like a 4.7. He couldn't keep up with anyone.
Nobody ever talks about that. They're like, oh, he's got great cheekbones.
Girls don't know that because that movie was so
whatever.
old.
Six-pack. He also got burnt.
A lot of the
So-
girls that picked up on him was afterwards when he grew into himself.
Well,
And
until I see him in the freaking 3-4 again, I don't want to hear shit.
All
Because
right,
he got
can we
burnt.
switch to this?
Yeah, man.
All right, and then I'll say my other. I'm going to throw out a cliche one, but Rudy is just excellent. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
that's one of those
Classic.
movies where it's like when he finally gets the acceptance letter, you're kind of like.
I mean, he was offsides,
You're like,
but whatever. The whole thing's
right.
built on a lie. I
Riot
like
Juice.
Rudy.
Oh, we're finishing on a
Well,
sour.
as you go to Riot Juice, well, let's talk about it. I know that's why I want to go last because this
Okay,
is
all
a
right.
lot. There's a lot of flavor. We'll go into that, and then I got my 3
Roll
as
it
I
up.
think about it. No, I'm still in the zone as far as like my 3.
Oh, you're still thinking. All right, so
I mean,
just
I got 2
for
of
the
them.
listeners who haven't tried this, is a Berliner with blackberry, lime, vanilla, and milk sugar. Riot Juice. Look at that can.
It's so good. That's the most expensive one, by the way. Not that it matters,
Mm.
but I just thought that was interesting because
So is it going to be the best? The best one?
I hope so. Riot Juice sounds like something you can get arrested for. What are you doing? Drinking Riot Juice? Get away,
We've seen some riots.
man. So I'm gonna go with.
Look at that.
And now remember, this is in no particular order, right? Oh, looks good. Look at that.
And what
face.
you're going to do,
Oof.
I guarantee you're going to remind me of one that I also love that probably I could also.
So look,
argue.
if I'm being honest, Remember the Titans has to be a top 3.
Yeah, it
I
has
don't know
to be,
how I
right?
wouldn't pick that.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman. I was like, yeah, it is Denzel. Denzel's fantastic, phenomenal in that. Love Friday Night Lights as a TV series, but I don't count that because we're talking movies. I would say for me personally, Mighty Ducks was huge.
See, another good one.
Quoted all the time. That's a big one
Ford
for me.
Bombay. Quack, quack.
So great. And it's on Disney Plus, and they're about to come out with a new series, but whatever. I'm just in love with Mighty Ducks. Great.
Quick question here, not to like undercut your list here,
Yeah,
but
you're good.
obviously they came out with sequels. Do you think that the original Mighty Ducks is the best one, or do you like D2
Well,
or
Knuckle Puck
D3?
time with
So
Keenan, who's a Tampa Bay guy, by the way, has a house around.
let's get him
here.
on the pod.
I'll hit him up. He's a huge hockey fan. Ironically, he is. He did a lot of stuff during the Lightning's Cup run last year.
How awesome would that podcast episode be with Ocho Cinco and Keenan Thompson?
Oh my god.
Is
Oh
it
my god.
Is it the beer or is it the?
It's the beer. Have you taken a sip? Holy! I need a minute. Oh, whoa!
Ooh, my
I know,
cheeks
dude. Like,
puckered in there.
what just Riot? What
Wow,
just
that's really
happened?
good. Wait, did we try
I
this when
forgot we
went?
switched over from like what we were drinking.
We didn't
to-
try this when we went to the
I
brewery.
don't think so. There's a lot going on there. It's not bad. I'm awake.
Not bad. No, it's fantastic. I love
Wow,
that.
real quick. You think of the other Mighty
It's still
Ducks.
puckering.
I know. You think of there's the blackberry on the end. You think of the Mighty Ducks, and it's impossible not to think about the other ones. But that's a movie too that's been referenced, right? Like in Night at the Roxbury, they reference Mighty Ducks, like that. It pops up, and Disney is coming out with a new series. They ended up with an animated series. There's an actual hockey team that is the Anaheim Ducks. Like there's a lot going on with them. So for me, that is such a big deal. After that, I'm not going to go with Remember the Titans because again, I'm trying to go with 3 different ones.
You're going with top 3, no order.
Correct. Although I would say Remember the Titans is in there. I'm not going to for this argument. Sandlot.
Wait, so you didn't answer my question though. So which of the Mighty Ducks ones was your favorite? Mighty Ducks, D2 or D3?
D2, but I've probably seen the first one more. I probably watched it.
See, I've seen all 3, but it's hard for me to remember exactly what happened in all 3. But I like the ones as they progress. They kind of get a little bit older.
Well, Knuckle Puck wasn't in the first one. So the first one had nothing to do with Knuckle Puck. It was Bombay had gotten actually arrested for a DUI.
Yeah.
And that's why, which Disney doesn't usually do stuff like that. Took over, started hooking up with Charlie's mom. They just leave all that out. Like, I'm like, Disney really got raunchy in the first Mighty Ducks, but I loved it. A lot of diversity, too. And the second one was where they had to deal with some street hockey guys. The third one was against Iceland, I'm pretty sure. It was when Iceland got involved. And then there's actually the fourth one, which is when they go to college and they play against the varsity team. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
But my point is,
give me your
Mighty Ducks.
Your third.
Mighty Ducks.
No, I mean,
I said Sandlot because that's a classic.
Oh.
I'm not counting Remember the Titans because you said it, but I would put him in my top 3. But if I wasn't,
I knew this was gonna happen. See, Sandlot is up there for me.
Sandlot's
also,
so tough.
There's so many for me. It's tough to rank them, but I knew you were gonna like spark my memory on something.
And the last one I would say that you didn't mention that for me is big is Rocky. Same idea as the Mighty Ducks to me. You might not be a huge Rocky guy, but that Rocky out of all these. Well, Remember the Titans, I think won a Golden Globe.
To make.
Don't you fucking dare.
See now this one I'm embarrassed about.
I can't even chug this beer out of anger because it's so sweet. It makes you smile.
Yeah. I've only seen part of it.
Have you seen any of the Rockies all the way through?
Yes. I went to the theaters and saw the one that was he was old. It was like his last fight before. That's the worst one. I thought that one was good.
Oh my god, where he's like bringing the kid up.
I know. All right, and I'm gonna get shelled for this.
Oh my god,
dude, my upbringing sometimes when it comes to movies was just weird. Like we didn't.
You didn't see the one with Mr. T or with Drago. I will break you.
I've seen all the memes. I listen. I understand. I gotta get caught up on that.
Oh my god!
I didn't want to even admit that, but
Have
I feel like I had to be truthful.
You seen the new ones?
No.
Creed.
Because I wanted. Yeah. Okay. But here's with movies. I don't want to watch like I said with the Star Wars thing. I don't want to watch the newer ones until I get caught up on the last one. So which Star Wars I was, but with this I gotta go in order because I don't want to watch the new one because then I don't really fully appreciate it.
I'm mad at you. Does Fast and Furious count as a sports movie?
Nah.
Why not? It's racing. Have you ever seen geez, now I can't think of it. Talladega. Well, you've seen Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Sports movie? It's literally about NASCAR. I was thinking Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise.
All right. I don't want to piss.
I don't
want to piss any
NASCAR is definitely a sport. You might not like it, but it's a sport.
Well, then we have to go with Fast and Furious. It has to be a sport then as well, right?
Kingpin. You ever seen that with
It's on
Woody?
Netflix. I wanted to watch it, but
the bowling movie, it's so good.
I feel like it looked kind of corny, and I was kind of worried about it.
Bro, it's funny. You'll like it. It really is a good one. It's a funny one. Woody Harrelson's in that.
I did hear that there was a couple.
He's got a fake hand in it, and he lost it in a bowling accident, and that's the whole movie. Quaid from Independence Day and
Randy Quaid.
Christmas Vacation's in it. You'd love it, bro. You really would. I'm pissed that you haven't watched Rocky, but if I was to tell you to go in and watch one movie today, I would say watch Kingpin. Very underrated.
Really? Okay. All right. Interesting.
Is chess a sport? Because Queen's Gambit's really popular these days too.
Well, I don't know. It's more of a game, right? More of a hobby. I don't know if I consider it a sport.
Esports is a sport technically now.
Is it?
It's in the name. It's in the game. EA Sports.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I respect chess. I love chess. We did watch Queen's Gambit. Loved it. Great series.
Great
Looking
series.
forward to season 2, but I don't know if I consider it a sport.
Wow. Man, this beer is so good.
Is curling a sport?
My lips are curling drinking this beer. Curling is like the last
this is your
sport that
favorite
we
today,
can play.
isn't it?
it's just so good. The vanilla. So did you read through this?
Yeah.
The vanilla is, I think, what's catching me. Because
the vanilla's catching you?
Because you drink a lot of sour beers, and you're gonna get that pucker. You're gonna get that like the salivating like thing happening. The vanilla, there's a smoothing out in there though.
There is, but I'm getting hit with that blackberry hard.
I see the blackberry more in the end.
And the lime.
The lime, I was gonna say, is what I get a lot of.
That's where your
it's like lemon lime, bro. Citrus. It'll get you.
So let me ask you, line them up. While we're on the topic of ranking, I want you to rank these 1 through 5 in your favorite in order today.
First of all, Ezra the Lion's first.
Put them in order. Go ahead and slide them over.
Well, I love the kids, so unless you hate kids, you'll put that first.
Well, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Unless you hate children, you put that first. Yeah, it's pretty easy for me. Those 3 are definitely top. If the kids aren't involved.
Kids, Kanye.
If the kids aren't involved.
No, just make your rankings.
If the kids are involved, it matters.
Wow, you're going that first.
No, I'm musical cans, bro.
Which order are you going in? Is this first to
Let me do what I do. Done.
Okay, is that first? I knew you were going to put that one first.
It's so good.
All right, so I'm going.
We literally started the episode off talking about how good their sours are. So is it shocking that their sour is my favorite out of the 5 that we got?
No, not at all. And I don't hate you for it at all.
I hate you for not watching Rocky, but that's separate.
That's fine. That's fair. I'll accept that. That's deserved. I'm going to swap them real quick. But these are definitely also my top 2. Oops. Not that I don't love the sour, because I love the sour.
To bring it full circle, it's very like Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence of you.
It is.
We talked about how there's a top 2.
Tier. Nice. Hey. I like that. Okay. Yeah, these ones are kind of tough. I did like. Okay, so these were the 2 hazy ones. And I'll put Ezra first.
Yeah, there's a lot of
these are kind of similar in my opinion.
Crispy bits in there.
This one wasn't bad.
It's so not like a normal order.
It's weedy. I'm not a huge weedy guy. I'm not a big Belgian guy, that style. Not bad at all. Did like it, but this would be my 5th out of these 5.
Man, this riot juice is just next
it's just putting it right where it needs.
Brian's going to go watch Rocky. I'm going to make him. I'm going to tie him to a chair and make him watch them. All of them, including the Creeds, which I thought are phenomenal, with Michael B. Jordan. This has been episode Ocho. We appreciate you guys, Zach and Brian here, doing what we do, doing what you do, being a part of it. And we have everybody who made it out to Seventh Son, again, thank you for being there. We want to hear from you, though. Like, where should we go next? What beer should we try next?
What's your favorite sports movie?
What is your favorite sports movie? Do you think Ants is as shitty as I do? Hit us up all the time at thecraftbeerplaybook.com if you want to visit the website. Also on Instagram and Facebook at The Craft Beer Playbook. On Twitter at Beer Playbook. You can comment. We love to interact. We've been having a lot of good success doing that, and we hope to continue to do so. So hit us up again. Episode Ocho, Hidden Springs. Thank you for making delicious beer. We will be back and see you guys and gals very, very soon. Also, we are podcasted everywhere. So if you're watching on youtube.com, The Craft Beer Playbook, thank you. If you're just listening, though, you can find us anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you listen, we got you. When we return on the next episode, we'll have some big news. Hopefully, we're on the precipice of our next event. So more of that to come. Brian, go watch Rocky. We're out.
All right.